everyone in front of the camera's got a bit of narcissistic side of him, and that narcissistic side isn't bad. It's just narcissistic side. You have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Why be greedy in Poland? And there is a lot of that in Poland. It's being spiteful and greedy. Obviously, there is that elsewhere, but I just didn't feel it as much. I didn't feel it as much. So I bought the camera, went to a bar in Paris, and there's this beautiful mixed race girl. So I come up to her, and I was like, "Listen, I am famous in Poland." I obviously believed in my own lie. That's what I often do. And even with everything that I had, I would still have very often moments of like, how shallow and empty that is. When I was on the wave, there was a lot of people in my DMs. Let's meet up, you're interesting, you this, you that, amazing, great, lovely. Like, you're the best movie maker, videographer, name it, however. Do you know what I mean? I knew I wasn't the best. I was the most passionate, and I was the most clever, and I was the most... if I supposed to be just here, satisfying those people who are trying to grab me for their own fame, and I'll be this vulnerable idiot that's just being naive, and hello, I'm around famous people, I'll be nowhere right now. Absolutely nowhere.
Today my guest is Magic Mars, an incredible filmmaker and content creator whose work I simply love. Today we're gonna talk with him about creativity, overcoming challenges, and the impact of social media on modern storytelling. Thank you for supporting our show, for watching and subscribing. Enjoy this episode. So Maciej or Magic, welcome to the show. Are you ready to be cancelled today?
I'm absolutely ready to be cancelled. You've tried to cancel me for so long now.
I know. So if someone clicks on this podcast and they decide to stay and listen to us, what lessons will they learn from your experience or creative experiences?
It's your podcast. You tell me what you want to hear.
I want to hear everything, man. I want to hear everything.
So you want me to explain to people...
Why should they listen?
What should they listen about me, or in general about this podcast? I have no idea. That's a tough one. Because I don't really... Can you be specified? Can you be specific?
So, okay, here's the thing. The last time when we worked together in that ad, we exchanged little, words, and you mentioned something that you've been so down and that it took you a while to get back where you are today.
Yeah.
And, the struggles, the depression and all that. So I want somehow to package that experience and give it to our listener as, value.
I see. Okay, so you want to hear what was the podcast going to be about today?
Yes, sir. Okay. Exactly.
Definitely not about depression, because I was never in depression, but I was far from the word depression. But definitely as a man, everyone's got ups and downs, right? So I would say I had my downs, and I should have my ups.
Okay.
And I guess, I don't know, I've seen the email with the questions you're going to ask me. So it's not only about ups and downs. We're supposed to be chatting absolute, nonsense too. So
I'm up for it. So we got like two parts of the podcast. The first one is we deliver value. We help as much as we can. And also we'd love to, it's a Warsaw Confidential show after all.
Yeah.
And we can share any gossip and, I personally a fan of your work because my big dream is to be a director one day. I have this dream. I don't know if I told you about my crazy movie.
Not about that.
I didn't. I have this crazy movie idea that I will do. And whenever we're shooting with the guys here, I love the aspect of, creating stories and just creating magic,
Oh, mate, you blending in Poland really well, because, Polish people are famous from one thing. Anywhere you are, whatever they're drinking or not, there's always a Polish person who's going to say, I could write a book about my life. I could do a movie about my life. Everyone's so fucking interesting. Well, so does your movie is really interesting? Or
it's not about
just your experience?
It's not about me. That's the thing.
Because I want to be a movie director. Like, that's my long-term plan. I'm going to make a movie, right? And that will happen because obviously I'm a videographer, movie maker, however you call it, you name it. So it is leading to that. Whether that's going to be the best movie or the worst movie in Poland,
We shall see.
I couldn't care less as long as I do the journey.
Yeah.
So what is your movie going to be about?
All right, it's not about me at all. So that's I don't know if I can share it, lively. Somebody will steal it anyway. But a lot of know it. So actually, it's because I love music. I love techno.
Yeah.
And
so the techno yoga yesterday was
yeah,
something that you should be on.
I know the guys that do it. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in Mykonos and I was in this what is it called, the Void. It's like the club in Mykonos if you wanna listen to techno. And I was just having there. I was with my mates and having this amazing experience. And then this movie idea came to me. It's just like, and then I start picturing the scenes because the scene where I was just like perfect for an opening scene. And long story short, I don't want to go into details. It's about a DJ who kills people with music. So he goes in and has like some, let's say he plays with the frequencies.
Yeah.
The frequencies play with your heart and it clicks something inside your heart and you drop that like.
Like that sort of movies. I would, if I would have to do a movie, it would be more realistic.
Okay.
About people.
That.
Yeah, it would definitely be a mixture of Quentin Tarantino violence with loads of dialogue, but the dialogue would always lead to action, but not Jason Bourne action. That kind of Quentin Tarantino, messy, unprepared, real human. When you're shooting bullets, the bullets actually hitting people, not the whole empty rifle and then no one's dead. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But your one sounds pretty intense.
Dark. I know. Intense. So, but one day I'm coming. I'm learning from you. So, let's do it like this.
Yeah.
Tell us about your background. How did you become this video maker or creator? Or it's a little bit of your background for those who don't know you.
Yeah. Right. So, make a really long story quite short because we only got an hour.
No, we got more, man. For you, we got more. Don't worry.
So basically, I went to England when I was 18 after college, and I was doing regular jobs that everyone does when you go to UK 17 years ago. So I was a waiter, then I was a lifeguard, and I stepped up to be a manager of the leisure centre, but I always wanted to be an actor. It doesn't matter what I've done, how young I was when you're at the stage when you're a boy, when everyone's asking you what you want to be. People say police officer or firefighter, whatever. I always wanted to be an actor. But when I went to college, I applied to an acting school. And then after first day, they kicked me out. So that's a different story, why they kicked me out. But when they kicked me out, I was like, okay, obviously it's not my destiny, right? But like, there's still a huge narcissistic side of me that is not really just purely narcissistic, but is also something that is deeper than that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not just the guy who's looking at the mirror and thinking how beautiful he is and how successful I want to be so everyone can love me. But it was more than that. At least that's what I thought at that time. And then many, many years later, obviously I went to England. I was doing all those jobs. And then at some point when I finally had a decent amount of money on my account, I was just like, okay, I've been grinding and working so many years and I've been doing all these jobs and I was trying to satisfy my father, who's always been saying that I'm not going to be much in my life. And in order to be much for him, I had to be solid at one workplace so the boss doesn't fire me. And that was the success for me, so I can prove that. So for many years I was doing that, and I was in one workplace for many years. I was pretty good at that, and then I was in another one, and then I was selling houses. And then when I've realized that I'm actually pretty good, even though I'm by myself in different country, I'm pretty good in suddenly picking up language, doing stuff so boss doesn't fire me. So in this aspect, I'm pretty okay. And then finally, I've made my way to make savings, because back then when I was in England, like you make money, but you're not rich. You're just a middle class, I guess, less than middle class when you're Polish. But I've made my savings, and then I was just like, okay, actually I've got time now. the only thing I've been doing as a hobby is gym for many years because my family comes from sports. My auntie, she had I don't know how to say that in English. I think Polish cap in handball. So she was really well known in back in the days. So also like my family was very sporty. So other than working hard, the sport was coming to play. So all my like 12 to 13 years in England was literally full-time job and going to the gym. And that's all I was doing. And then when the money came, I was like, okay, can I actually do anything else? Like, do I have any talents other than going to the gym and being good at work? And then I remembered the acting. And I was like, okay, in order to be an actor, you have to have huge connections. If you want to have a story like Rocky, that he wrote the script overnight and then he ran back to find the dog that he sold to buy it off, and then this guy he actually met the guy again, so he bought the dog back from him, and then he's in the movie. Those stories are nice, but I don't know whether that's true or that's marketing or whatever that is. I don't really believe, I don't want to be vulnerable to believe in that sort of stuff. So to be an actor, probably 1 in a million, right? To be making movies, even worse. Like, you have to be in some sort of space of Illuminati where everyone knows each other from family generations. Even if you go to acting school and suddenly I would have that money for acting school, I presume I would be nobody there as well. I did believe in connections back then already because my father had several businesses and they were quite successful. So I knew, at least that I've learned from my family, that you have to be well connected, not just have the business that runs well. Because you can have amazing business strategy, but if you don't have the connections, that can very often go sideways. So then in that time when I was thinking that, social media came to place. And I was like, okay, I'm that old, by the way.
We are the same age, don't worry.
How old are you? You don't want to say?
No, I'm 38.
Okay, so we're the same age. I'm 37.
Yeah.
So social media came to place, and I was like, okay, that's perfect.
So this is like 2012 or?
No, 2004.
4?
Yeah, no, wait, no. 2000, it must be 2012.
Yeah.
2004, I went to England.
Yeah.
So the first person I've watched, and I was already, I don't remember how old, I don't want to lie to you, I'm pretty bad with that, but maybe 26, maybe 27, maybe 28, possibly 26. I've seen some guy on YouTube called Casey Neistat.
The famous Casey Neistat.
You know Casey Neistat, yeah?
I do.
Perfect.
I love his movies.
Perfect.
I mean, yeah, you could call them movies.
So Casey Neistat back then was 32 already. So I'm seeing this guy who I thought when I was 25, 26, that guy's old.
Yeah.
He's on social media. He's running around with a little camera and he's making fame. Like, what is this? Like, I've been fixating about not being an actor because of this, not being a movie director because of that. And that guy's got balls to just grab a little camera and then run around and do a video, and he's got all these views. So I was like, I want to do that. And the first commercial I've seen that he's done, it was, now I feel like it was a marketing stunt, but still very clever one, because the movie starts, so Nike gave me all this money, and they wanted me to do this commercial, but I grabbed all this money and I've done something else. And then he's running around across the whole world. Like, there's this one shot on the tripod and he's different scenery, yeah? Like changing scenery, and he's just running and doing handstand. And I was like, okay, I can do handstand. I'm more like better looking than him and younger than him. Let's do this, right? And so I bought the camera and I went to Paris. I had a breakup, major breakup. After 6 years together, I had a major breakup, and that was my kind of trigger. So I bought the camera, went to a bar in Paris, and there's this beautiful mixed race girl. So I would come up to her and I was like, listen, I am famous in Poland. And I've got this camera, I make movies all the time. How about you spend a few days with me and we make videos together? So she said yes, right? So we made videos together and it was fun. I made horrible video because it was on auto. So the whole white balance, everything was fucked. just fucked. But you know what? Everything I've seen in that image was artistic to me. But white balance, great. I love it. This image is amazing. It gives me a certain vibe. Like now when you trying to find the light, the blue one. So when you go the white balance off, sometimes it would go to loads of different colors. I love that. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna use this in there. I use that in this, and then I use those shots in there and then that. So I very quickly like realized that I'm very bad in camera, but I'm very good storyteller. So it doesn't matter what I've created for image-wise, I can actually pile it together in a really cool story. So back then, I've made a video that was 3.5 minutes long from Paris. So imagine watching on social media just someone running around in like on a holiday for 3.5 minutes. You wouldn't watch it now. But back then, I've posted it when I went back home. And on my Facebook, I only had friends that I knew from school. Not many. But I posted that video and I had 1,600 views on that video. Back then, for me,
Of course.
I was just like, okay, so I am famous. I obviously believed in my own lie. That's what I often do. And I was just like, okay, that gave me a boost of like, okay, I can dig that. Like, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to work in my full-time job, but I'm going to keep doing that. I love it. Like, finally, I've got something. I actually gave me that injection. You know how people say about heavy drugs. When you've got that first shot, you're looking for
The highest. Yeah.
you're looking for that first injection. Do you know what I mean? So from that day till now, I was always looking for that first injection because I remember how I felt when I posted that video and how people react to it. And I was just like, I created this reality. I was the guy who went to UK specifically to work and to prove something to everyone else but not me. But the moment I gave myself a tiny bit of a gap to chase my dreams, all I had to do is buy a camera, buy a ticket from a cheap airlines, go to Paris, lie to a lady I fancy. she agreed to it, run around and play auto on that, and then that gave me pleasure. That gave me a huge satisfaction. So I was just like, I don't care about all this thing that I fixated about connections and everything else. I'm just gonna do it purely for me. And that was the first time when I finally kind of like went outside the pleasing everyone, getting ready for this specific thing. Because in England, I went to England. You know how I went to England? I went to England because I didn't feel good enough. So I had to, because I didn't have time and money for university, I went to England because England was the fastest way to learn life. Learn language, being by yourself. Even if you're a crybaby, you have to suck it up pretty fast. So I put myself straight in there. And then actually, I proved myself at that point that, okay, I'm actually grown up. I can do all this. I don't need a father, mother, everyone to babysit me. I can purely do that. But when I done the video for the first time, I didn't regret that I didn't follow my dreams earlier. But all this grown-up stuff that I done really early when I was 18, I should have wait slightly more and chase my dreams anyway. So even if I got kicked out from the acting school in the first day, I should have just go to a different acting school, even not the less famous one. That wasn't a regret, but that's something that I would actually tell anyone who's trying to follow the dreams. Don't go and be a hard worker or the hardest worker. I think that's something that is been made up for social media as soon as social media came to place to control the mass. Social media is perfect for that. Yeah. So if you tell millions and millions of people, some really cool guy and another cool guy and another cool guy is gonna on his podcast or his Instagram is gonna say you have to grind, and when you feel uncomfortable, that's the perfect place. Yes and no, not really. I understand working hard because I've proven myself how hard I can work. But the moment I've indulged myself in pleasure, not pleasure, but pleasure of doing what I love, meaning video, that was so much better than working hard. Because suddenly I'm working hard. Running around with the camera is not easy. It's not the most difficult, but it's not easy to make it right. But you don't feel like you're working hard anymore because you've got love in your heart, and your love is not a human being that you're trying to satisfy. It's the camera that gives you the feeling that you know, like the overwhelming feeling that you're exactly in the place where you're supposed to be.
This episode is sponsored by Meknes, a brand where Moroccan craftsmanship meets modern luxury. For our Warsaw Confidential listeners, you can enjoy 15% off your purchase by using the code Warsaw15 at checkout, meknes.com. Thank you for supporting our show, for listening, watching, and subscribing. It's beautiful. I mean, it reminds me of my early days with creativity, because I started as a blogger, a popular one. I was like, my articles back in the day, 2007, 6 even, they were going viral before the viral era, you know?
Yeah.
But just like you know, like my father's like, there's no way you are doing this for, you know, it's like, get serious, find a job. And for me, I was lost at some point. And then I had this opportunity to come to Poland in 2008. So I came here, I took on this internship. And all what I had to do at that time is like wake up. And it's funny because when you were saying about the camera, it's like I recall myself. I also bought this nice little shitty camera, but it was like a bundle of joy. I would go out and make the shittiest picture. Now when I look at them, I'm like, what? But that's normal, you know? You see them and you laugh. And I was like taking pictures of the city in the morning. In the afternoon, I would go and write an article or two, and that's it. And that was my life for like 6 months, basically, because the internship, it was just bullshit. We were doing nothing. And I said to myself, I really wish that one day I could live this life, you know? Yeah. So the internship finished, visa ran out. I went back to Morocco.
I know this story because I've listened to your podcast.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I know the story that you've been in different city in Germany, and then you took the train to Warsaw because you love the life in here.
And I was like, and the sense of freedom and all this creativity, you know, it's like, but my follow-up question for you would be how to actually get there, because we know a lot of people, they are creative and the struggle is real.
Okay.
Some people don't have the balls to keep going, or even when they do, how to keep going.
Okay. So, you know when I said the hard work is bullshit?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Okay, cut.
Yeah, it isn't. Because it's not really black and white. You can't really tell people that you have to grind and then expect that people are going to grind and then not come back to you and be like, I'm mad at you, because I will listen to your podcast and I've done exactly what you said. So I've grinded for all this 2 or 3 years and I've got no success. That's your fault, Magic. I've wasted my 3 years. No, not really, because that's on you. I was in England. That was on me. I've grinded. That was on me. I could easily go back to Poland and be with my friends and not chase whatever I was chasing, proving myself to my father, chasing my dreams, however I created them. But sometimes once someone said, you create your own reality, and then how you create your own reality in your head, if you resonate that energy for a really long time, mixed with so many factors like hard work, time, resilience, and all these dots that you have to connect. If you're willing to do that, if you're willing to sacrifice, then it may be going to pay off. So I was like, okay, so I might die from cancer in the meantime. I might be broke. I might be homeless. I might be completely not successful. Turn up, I'm going to be delusional because I'm going to turn up not being good at that, but I'm going to believe in that so strong that I'm not going to know when to walk away from this. Fuck it, I'll take it. So that one is on you. I've grinded in England so many years, being blindly, I didn't know what's gonna happen. I was completely blind to it. I was running blindfolded, but I did slowly connect the dots. I was trying to learn English. In the meantime, I made connections. I was trying to be a good human being. I was trying to be a piece of shit to people that deserve it. I was trying to grow up as a young man because I was in my 20s, so I gave myself a time as well. And I knew that even though I picked up the camera, I don't know where I'm going, because I don't know where I'm going to go towards acting or towards movie directing. How much of a chance now when social media came to place, how much of a chance I do actually have to make a movie, or is this going to develop to something else? Now we know where this is going. Well, we don't know, but we know where it went to in the last few years. So I took my chances. I've done those unrealistic things, and I just put the pressure on myself on that. I chased I chase something that I've created in my head, and exactly how I've created, I'm here now. And obviously, I've got more dreams. I want to make a movie. I want to be more famous. I want to famous. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone who's in front of the camera, and there's a lot of people who's gonna disagree, and I believe they just liars. Everyone in front of the camera's got a bit of narcissistic side of him, and that narcissistic side isn't bad. It's just narcissistic side. You have to acknowledge that.
You have to accept it.
You have to accept that whatever you do out of love, if you've got a good percentage in your heart that you've actually doing it because you love it, then that's good because you can develop the skill. But you will always have this certain percentage of that narcissistic side that you want to be on the red carpet. You want to be loved by many. You want to be recognized by people on the street. And if you tell me that not, then
something is missing.
Then only Keanu Reeves can say that. Only that guy can say it. Other than that, it doesn't. I don't care how you act and how you persuade other people to believe in you. There is always at least some percentage of that, of you loving that stuff.
So would you say that narcissism is an ingredient for success?
Yeah. People use words like narcissism and procrastinations as a bad word. I totally disagree. I think narcissism is good if you know how to control it. It's like a superpower. If you're a narcissist, then you're a dickhead. But if you're a narcissist and you're productive, humble and narcissist, it doesn't work. Yes, it does. Because you can actually learn over the years, okay, people don't like me, or people like me, I'm a fuckboy, and everyone's just want my life, but because I'm good looking, whatever I do in my life, but in general, I'm a piece of shit. I want to change that. Then it's your power to change it. Then that narcissism is still there because you can always change to be a piece of shit, but you can control it and then bring people value. And that's what I do. And also with procrastinations, because like I already said, procrastination for people is laziness. It isn't, because none of the artists, people go into art very often because they don't want to be in corporate jobs. Corporate jobs is a specific time that you have to attend and specific time you have to leave. And it's never a specific time that you have to leave because you have to satisfy your boss. Artists, they don't want to do that. They want to stay in their own time, in their own space when no one's watching. And for some time, they want to do nothing. And that nothing very often creates things because you've got time to think. So procrastination also is not a bad word that people shouldn't be using.
I could consider myself a big procrastinator, I would leave. Let's put it like this. I work under pressure the best. So if you could tell me, hey, we need this from you, and I would just wait for the last moment, even with this podcast, for example, guys, they send me the footage, I have to review it again and again and again and again. And I am like, the moment I decide to go all in is the moment I feel the most productive and the moment I don't have time. Because now I put myself to a program, I have to post a new episode every Sunday at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
So 8:55, I am still tweaking something.
I'm exactly like you. 90% of time in my life, last minute.
Exactly.
And I will put myself in that position. Specifically sabotage myself to the last minute. And for some reason that pressure is good, right?
It works, man. It absolutely works, because what I noticed when I have time and I'm chill, I feel like the work is not good enough. I love this chaos of last minute, like the podcast, and then I see that I missed this thing, and I just love it. So I agree with you on that. So
yeah.
So tell me now with the work you do, because obviously when I watch, from the bird's eye, I'd say, I see a lot of storytelling is going on. You're talking to the camera and you're delivering, this speeches or stories. I see you involve a lot of your family, your partner and your newborn.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to achieve through this storytelling and this way of, because honestly, I don't see anyone doing this in Poland. And I'm into a little bit of the social media. I have to. and I could confidently say you're the only one doing it, and you're doing a great job.
You've created this.
I did.
Okay. You could go for something that looks more techno or clown or anything else that you name it, but it looks very classy.
Yeah,
It looks timeless.
it does.
It does. You like timeless stuff?
I do.
I like timeless content.
Mm.
I do, but I don't majorly like doing stuff that is in the vibe right now. So, what you call it? Tell me, help me out with English. What's the name when there's something on TikTok and it's right now? Trendy. So trendy stuff is cool. If I like something, I'll do it. But I don't fixate on that. I don't go everyday trendy, because everyday trendy is killing yourself. It's being a sheep, and it's just being a controlled minion. I believe if I go slow, but I'll do what I believe in, which is timeless stuff, meaning slowly creating your brand. I think that brings more value, and it's the same risk as I took when I was younger, just to be a videographer. Now I'm taking this risk, feeling that I created the imagination in my life that timeless stuff is more valuable. I might fail, but I'm not failing right now. And although I don't do trendy stuff, people call me all the time, and I've got a full inbox of emails to do collabs, to do videos exactly how I want it. So I go out elsewhere in Poland to all my influencers, people that I know. I wouldn't call them friends, but people I know. And when we even talk about job, which I don't want to talk with them, they always say, oh, I've got this new script that I have to do this on TikTok. I have to do this, this and that. I do like it, I don't like it, I don't care. But I have to do this how they want me to. The amount of time I said no in Poland is ridiculous. The amount of time I've said no is probably 80% than what I could, I could take. But I didn't take it just because I believe in that timeless stuff. I rather do no transitions in the video, focus on sometimes grading or sometimes a good image, learning how 50, 60 years ago lenses were built and how they used it for specific things. So let's say I love anamorphic filters. An anamorphic filter wouldn't be used right now because you can't put it in a landscape. No, you can't put it in the lightscape. So that sort of stuff interests me more than being like, oh yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Logan Paul.
I'm not dissing that. I believe that people who are making that fame and making a lot of millions and millions followers and making shitloads of money and buying new cars and houses right now, if they can buy that house and they don't go ballistic on drugs, sex and alcohol, and then in year time they have to spend more money on therapy, rehab, then if you actually go in, do that, buy a house, secure yourself, and go out, then fucking do whatever. Do you know what I mean? Do whatever. But I don't want to do that. I chose my life, and my life is that timeless stuff. So what I do is in I don't know, do you know Dynasty? Dynasty, yeah, the series back in the days when my mom and your mom watched it. How many series were there?
Yeah.
A lot. So people who watch me for the last 6-7 years, they sometimes laugh. Magic is literally watching that. And I like that. And I like that because I was very often in different time space in my life where I was, like you said, not depressed, but down. Oh, I didn't have success, or I didn't have that, or maybe I did. I was into sport more. I was more into cars, and I had all these years to be different kind of magic. But in that time, I always picked up the camera. I recorded very often, very similar how I do now. Other than obviously developing the white balance better.
So I actually want to. So what you're saying is beautiful, artistically beautiful, and we see, some aspiring content creators or filmmakers or whatever you call them. But they see, on the other hand, that these guys, they're making shitload of money and they're successful. And they think, okay, this is the way to go. Yeah. So what do you think is the way to actually aspire people to do, to produce, actually good
better
stuff?
Content?
Yeah, better content.
You can't. You can't, because I'm not going to battle the whole world. If the social media is creating structure for us, and creating structure right now, if you can tell, is videography is dying slowly, because everything is going towards one phone, better quality, and you don't need Mr. Magic anymore. That's not going to happen for another many years, but it's going that way. Not many, but like maybe another 3-4 years. I give it. You can't battle that. But what you can is, and what I do, I very often, when I scroll through Instagram, I see those.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay. Like, sometimes they make me laugh. But what I actually save to watch later is the content that is valuable. And they got usually very much less followers.
Yeah.
But goddamn, they not struggling, mate. They got so many offers, and I can see people still making a lot of money on this. So what I feel is going to happen, and it's happening anyway, and it's happening to me, is you've got a special genre of people that you follow, and it's a niche. So I'm a niche.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy to do all the crazy stuff and have millions, unless I decide to go to Fame MMA and do all that stuff, which is, again, I'm not dissing that.
Of course, it works.
Because I don't want to be in a position when I'm being much better than everyone else here. 2 years later, something might happen behind the curtain, and I might be desperate for my family, and I might take that offer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then what's going to happen? Magic, well, 2 years ago, you were on a podcast and you were chatting shit, and here you go, you're the same as us. I'm not saying this is not good enough for me. I'm just saying it's not me. Like, I rather do that. So in order to be doing that, but also you want to make all this huge fame like the other guys do, the answer is no, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You need to understand that you're going to be a niche. You're going to be that guy like a fine wine. I don't drink it every day, but I pick up that wine twice a month. Don't make it so expensive that only once a year, but like make it enough so three times a month, twice a month, it's a good one.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that the video world is going down, because before I start this podcast, a lot of people saying, "Oh man, why you going 3 cameras? Why you going fancy? Why do you just like set up an iPhone and talk?" And I looked at them and I'm like, "Well, that's not me. I don't do these things. Phone is nice. It's okay." So my question would be, how to make peace with that? I know you said you gotta understand you're gonna be a niche.
Yeah.
Producing this podcast, for example, costs money, for example, and you might not see some returns in a really long time before you start seeing them. So how to make peace with that phase? Like, okay, I want to create something beautiful.
You just have to have savings. Literally, what do you want me to do? But it's funny, because when I was working here, the honest speech I kind of prepared for the podcast was, I wanted to kind of say, I'm such a big artist that I wanted to tell you and be honest that why are you doing this podcast now? It's already too late for the podcast.
I see.
But then I had this other side of me to be more open, and I think what you're doing right now, it's what I've said before, which is the timeless thing. It doesn't matter that you're at the end of the podcast era. What does matter that you've done it. People are going to go back to your history if they're going to follow you tomorrow, after tomorrow, or 3 months' time. And they're going to press that button just to listen to you. That's what I've done with Casey Neistat. So if I want to know more about Casey Neistat, dig deep. So that's what I'm going to do to you. And they're not going to remember that it was a podcast era. They're just going to see pure information. I want to know more about you. I'm going to hear you talking to other people. I don't care about other people. I don't care about Magic. I don't care about all the guests. I care about you, what you've said. So I'm going to pick up all the pieces that I need to know for the time in future, whatever's going to be next. So I think this is why the podcast for you is important. Like for me, pick up the camera and go to France, to Paris. This is important, because it's for you. It's you're going for the next thing.
I'll tell you what, because actually it was a good question when you asked me why you're doing this. So I've been in the content creation for more than anyone you would know, because I started back in 2005 when we had like blogs coming out. I was one of the first to create blogs in Morocco.
Okay.
And because lucky enough, I could, I'm from a normal family. My dad had this computer and he bought it to me, and his like son, because he's an engineer, he's very interested in tech and everything, so he was excited about internet at home. So I remember the day he called me and he said, "Oh, tomorrow we're gonna have this internet at home. get ready, and we got the internet, and I was like, I don't know what to do, man. It's just like playing games. And then this blog thing came, and I started blogging, creating. So for 2005 to now, it's like, what, 20 years? 20 years. I was tired. I got burnt out because it was all about, like you said, me, you know. YouTube, I got it to 200K, and I lost interest.
You satisfied your narcissistic side and whatnot.
I think so. And then when I launched the company, the fashion company back in 2017, because I knew I was coming to this stop, because I could see myself not stimulated creatively, you know, like I don't want to sit down. And I mean, I love writing. I still do it till this day.
Yeah.
But I could see, you know, I could see the final station in the horizon. And when I went through my hard times, people saying, man, you're good at content creation, do it. You got to come back. You got to, you know, revive your blog, because my website was like one of the biggest websites in France in dating. And I was making shit tons of money. You know, I wasn't doing this thing, but it was like a serious company. And I just couldn't find it in me. I'm like, man, I don't want to, you know, turn on the camera like, hey guys, welcome to, you know, it was not there for me anymore. And one day, I mean, this podcast you listened to, I was in Morocco, and I grabbed my phone, and I just started talking to this, to the phone, like recording. And I knew, and that's because of AI, because I read about this Adobe and that it cleans the sound and everything. And I'm like, is this true? So I run it.
When was that then? Not a long time ago.
No, not a long time ago. Just like a year, not even a year. Yeah. So I did the first episode a year ago. And I recorded the first one. I cleaned it by Adobe, and it came out amazing. People were like, so excited, but still something was missing. You know, like, oh man, I gotta record again and tell another story. I was just not in me until I realized, it's like, you know what? What if I just give the floor to other people to share their stories? I feel like I've shared enough for 20 years, and it's now time to pass, you know, the torch to people, to guests like you, to awesome people like you. And just being here now, I love it, because now I sit down here and I talk to interesting people. You know, I try to not talk too much, and it's beautiful. I love it, you know, because like, this is your time, guys. I just, you know, ask questions, and I think.
Yeah, but it isn't, because you also speak quite a lot about you. So you just found another platform. You found another platform. So indirectly, also, yes. There's nothing wrong with that. I love people who can acknowledge that there is a lot of narcissism in you, mate. You're a good-looking lad. Everything you've done in your life, I've done a little bit of research about you. Yeah. Everything evolves about being good-looking, pretty guy. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about being narcissist.
I know what you're
looking at the mirror all the time, but you've done the vlog at the beginning when the internet came.
Yeah.
You've done the writing about what? Probably about a lot of stuff about yourself too. You've done this so people and you can look good. So you're not exactly completely narcissistic about yourself. You're also implementing stuff to help people to look better.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So the podcast is just naturally another way of, okay, I can talk about myself and I can tell a lot of story about myself, and that's great because I can post on my Instagram and be like, oh yeah, I was a guest in, look at me. But there's going to be a lot of people watching that to hear what you got to say again in between. So when I go to podcasts very often, I am very careful not to talk about myself all the time. And with you, I knew it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
But when I was in a few podcasts before, it's always about you. So I make sure that I always ask questions too. And it's not, and when I see that they go very quickly and then swiftly back to you, I'm like, no, let's slow down and tell me more about you. Exactly. Because I can talk about me all day. I'm the greatest, do you know what I mean? But like, it's all about being the ping pong conversation.
And this is what I tell all my guests. I say, feel free to challenge me, to throw some questions there.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, the most important thing for me right now is to have these incredible conversations that I can grow, from. Because, we have this conversation now. I'm going to be, thinking, reflecting, and
we do.
At this point,
how great is that? After podcast, even if you want to be this, okay, let's on the next thing. I go to another meeting or whatever. Every time after every podcast, I would through the day or even a week actually reflect on it.
Yeah.
even if I didn't want to, even if I want to be super cool, ice cold, do you know what I mean? I would always reflect on it, and I'll be like, oh, I should have said that, or I should have gave him more space, or do you know what I mean? Like, do I call him and go for a coffee with him because he was actually interesting, or the other one was fucking boring as shit?
Yeah.
Never gonna go for that podcast again.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the era of podcasts. I absolutely love it, but I feel that I feel like even when the podcast gonna go, people who love podcasts, like I love videos, they should still do podcasts because that's what they love. The only thing is going to change that the people who felt like they need to be on the podcast right now, doing the podcast because it is, they're going to go away to another thing.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you because I thought about like...
So it's a compliment to you that you're doing podcast at the end of it.
Thank you, man.
Do you get it?
I do. But for me, I always follow my heart when I want to do something, a project or something.
Yeah.
And one day, it started with people like you. Like we had my barber there. And every time I go to this guy and we have this incredible conversation, I'm like, fuck, I should have
Previous
put
guest.
the
one that you all put the pressure on. So it was the best one.
I didn't say. Philip said.
Philip is like, this is the best. I sat down, I was like, okay.
I think he's number one now, isn't he? I think you just passed. Now, look, every guest has his own flavor, I would say. I don't think I should say this is the best, this is not the best.
I'm glad that you said it because I like the challenge. I know how to lose and I know how to
that's
win.
The
it's
trick.
fine.
We got you, man. That's why you're delivering, value. Let's go. Okay, let's switch gear here and talk a little bit because it's a Warsaw Confidential, show anyway. Tell me more about like the field of show business here in Poland.
In Warsaw.
In Warsaw.
Because Poland doesn't exist. Show business is only Warsaw.
In Warsaw.
Be specific. What do you want to know?
Oh,
I can't run my mouth. You're not going to ask me specific questions.
Okay, well,
I've got a lot to say, but you have to be specific.
Because I was doing some research on you, obviously, and I've read some stories, and I'm like,
go ham, brother.
Yeah, I'm like,
ask me anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be. I don't want you to be cancelled, because of me.
Yeah.
No, but I just want to have your take on the show business in Poland.
Which part of counseling? Well, I want to hear that. I don't want to go with show business. I want to protect that space.
Yeah.
You go ham. What did you hear?
No. So I read that people were kind of using you somehow to get
Great.
I was like, all right.
Great. So how is this threat to me? I can't be cancelled because of that.
No, I'm just teasing you.
Let me elaborate.
I am just teasing you.
Okay, so yes, there were people in my life that they were super famous until they weren't, and then I appeared. I made the comeback, and then I was swiftly swapped.
I love how you
I think if I go further, then I can get the lawsuit.
I see.
So, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
So yes, and that wasn't on the first occasion. That was many occasions. When I was on the wave,
Excuse me. What year are we talking here? Like the timeline?
Then I get the lawsuit if I tell you.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. But when I was on the wave,
you can tell me later.
Not a long time ago.
Okay.
When I was in Poland already.
Okay.
When I was on the wave, there was a lot of people in my DMs. Let's meet up. You're interesting. You this, you that. Amazing, great, lovely. Like you're the best movie maker, videographer, name it, however. Do you know what I mean? I knew I wasn't the best. I was the most passionate, and I was the most clever, and I was the most sophisticated in the way I was thinking how I want to run this, meaning completely my own. So when I got enough phone calls and emails to, can you do this for us, but you have to do this, this and that, and I said no. Instead of being not interesting, I turned up to being even more interesting, because if the people go, I don't know, wherever they party, wherever they go on the streets, or wherever they gather together, the crowd, and they go, oh yeah, this guy wants so much money for the specific thing. Fuck that guy. Turn out that this guy who heard this was even more curious about me and gave me a job to do great stuff. And then they gave me a platform to create great stuff. And then turn up, oh, Magic, actually, he doesn't have to prove himself because he already done really great videos in UK, but it always worked that way. You have to prove yourself in this place, even though you already have amazing CV. So I was just like, I don't mind. I'm just gonna let them either kill me, eat me, or give me a platform. They give me a platform. So the people who had bad things about me, that I say no about the less money or less, I give you product and you give me a video.
Yeah.
But the man got to eat. I want to have a family, beautiful house, and nice car. I'm thinking, how am I gonna fucking do that with the product you give me? Give me money. I do an amazing video. And back then I knew there was a beginning of video as well. So there was not that many videographers. It wasn't that many people with the telephones and phones and cameras and stuff like that. And what I was doing, I was already doing pretty cool. So I only took the people who were interested in me, and trust me, majority of people who gave me jobs, they wanted a video, they wanted a good video, so they came to me. But 50% of that, they were more interesting about what happened over there. Why?
That's weird.
Anywhere I went to work with the richest people in Poland. The richest from generations and the richest from outside the city. Because I don't know whether you know, in Poland, there is a lot of rich people making their richness on selling unbranded shoes. They got huge factories and stuff like that. They can make millions in here for that. So they would grab me to go to the countryside to the house. They fly me over to different part of Poland. They pick me up. I go to the factory. I make videos. Which not necessarily was artistic, but I was just like, you know what? This is exactly what I want to be. I love what I do. I'm not gonna look down on the factory. I'm not gonna look down on this. I'm not gonna look down on that. Those people are the people that's gonna make me. Meaning I got to be appreciated. I need to appreciate those people instead of being like, no, I'm a celebrity in Warsaw. I just want to be in snuggle place. No. Like those people are much better than being in the circle of Warsaw. And that's what I thought. And that was another thing that I created in my head. Maybe I'm going to be completely wrong, but I was completely right. Majority of people that made me in Poland were the very good mixture of celebrities in Warsaw and other people in the whole Poland. So I didn't make just money in Warsaw. I make money in the whole Poland. And for this day, I've got clients everywhere. If I supposed to be just here satisfying those people who trying to grab me for their own fame, and I'll be this vulnerable idiot that's just being naive and hello, I'm around famous people, I'll be nowhere right now. Absolutely nowhere. And I knew that was, I don't know why, maybe I was born that way, or maybe I was already old enough because I was in my 30s. I knew that it's not about being around celebrities and around just the fame and everything else. That's not going to make me. You're still going to have to get skill. You're still going to have to show people that you can do stuff. Because when I was in these beautiful places, in these amazing celebrity places and stuff like that, let's say I'll give you an example. If I went to a big TV show, and there was a lot of videographers over there just working for the TV, they would look at me and be like, I could feel it on my neck. Like, the fuck is this guy? I was like, we are studying videography and movie making for all these years. This guy, absolutely nobody. Why is he in front of the camera? But very quickly it turned out that I'm a normal guy. So, okay, they don't hate me anymore. And where I'm going, I'm not really the threat. Because where I'm going is a mixture of acting, a mixture of pick up the camera like Casey Neistat. I don't want to be here to take the jobs and tell people that I'm the best. If you're telling me on the little screen on TV, Magic Mars, the best movie maker in Poland, I'm not going to say no. It's great. I love it. But if you ask me, I'm not. And I can tell you exactly who's better than me, and I love their videos more. Not better than me, but like equally beautiful in content making. But if people make me, I'll super appreciate it, mate. It's not a lie if you take the compliment. If someone really believes that you're the best, and if they put you on the screen, best movie maker or videographer or whatever, I'm also not going to be that modest being like, no, guys, I'm not the best. Come on. you have to take it, right? You have to take life by the balls and be appreciated for. But then if you've got that power of the celebrities and everything else, you can either again turn to a narcissistic dickhead that you were from the beginning, or you have even more power and you can use it even better. And I used it even better.
Interesting.
Until today, I feel like an underdog every time anything I do when it comes to content. Every time when I do content, people try to tarnish my name, but in the same time, huge amount of people love me. And those people actually listen to what I've got to say, meaning the words humble, meaning the words confident, not cocky, and I go for my life instead of being apologetic for what I do in life. And when those people are watching me, those people are making me. Not the other one who suddenly, they want me around because I'm on the wave, but when I'm actually around, they slowly try to kill me. Did you ever feel that people, equally amazing people trying to grab you, so you've got this splendor of beautiful people around you, but after a few months you're like, I don't want to be around these people. For some reason, if it doesn't feel right, it feels toxic. He wanted me around, but suddenly he gives me bad vibes. What the fuck is going on? Did you have that?
Hey man, all the time. I think we just spoke about it as well with Maciej Markowski. I don't know if you were specifically talking about Poland.
Yeah.
But like, you know, people here, they see
you asking me, I was specifically talking about Poland.
Okay, so because Maciej are the same.
Is in England, sorry, I'm going to stop for a second.
Go ahead.
Back in England, my clients from England, Dubai, Ibiza, they were so huge, they had nothing to prove. They were nothing but gentlemen.
Because that's what I actually want to ask you. Like, your experiences working in the UK, Dubai, how do you compare it to Poland?
Poland is absolutely amazing. That's why you're here, that's why I'm here.
We're all here.
Beautiful people, the most amazing people. I love how we do have an elite. I believe we have an elite of people. But certain regions of the world, they've got certain bloods going through the veins. And that blood gives them certain qualities. And Polish quality is being a fucking dickhead.
Okay. Went real fast, huh?
Yeah. Meaning, I love everything you do, Magic, but just don't do it too well. When you go to elsewhere, I think you don't have that only because the wealth elsewhere is so big, it's so huge, that you will never get to their place, but you can still get to such a sweet spot. You're gonna feel everything that you wanted to feel. So you're not gonna have. They don't feel the threat. In Poland, it's a new country. It's really not an old country. So everyone here is making money from the scratch. There is a lot of doing this, that, just to make this, just to make that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So because of that, it's, you know, the place is quite small. So everyone feels like you're a competition, but you're not. One thing I've learned from being in different country, I'm not in competition with everybody, so with anybody. So if you take my job, that you think you're gonna take my job, you take that. It's fine. It didn't meant to be for me. I lost the client, but I wouldn't call it lose it. I go somewhere else. And over the years in Poland, I've lost a few clients. Right now, I don't feel like I'm making less money. For example, if I have to compare it to financials, but same thing with everything else. Like, you're developing to do something else, so you're doing podcast. The people I knew 3 years ago in Poland, I barely have maybe 10% of them now. But I've new people, amazing, absolutely amazing. So people think Warsaw and Poland is small. It isn't. It feels like a small place. There is a very few elite celebrities. First of all, I don't want to get that. If I get that, cool. Why not? You put me on that wave, I'll do it. But what I have right now, the little world that I've created, and huge companies that call me and they give me jobs and stuff like that, they still appreciate me for who I am, the way I am right now with my, 70,000 followers. I don't need 1 million followers. With 70,000 followers, the amount of jobs I have right now, I would get absolutely bananas lost if I had 1 million followers and everyone would call me for jobs. I wouldn't know what to do. I would have to hire videographers, and then suddenly it turns to not magic videos. Then it turns to a huge magic production. So do I want to do that? Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't really feel like doing the huge production where I have many videographers, filmmakers, and stuff like that. Actually, I would drop that and go to acting. So the stuff that I have now is absolutely perfect. So why be greedy in Poland? And there is a lot of that in Poland. It's being spiteful and greedy. Obviously, there is that elsewhere, but I just didn't feel it as much. I didn't feel it as much.
Interesting. What about the UK? Like if we compare 1-to-1, UK to Poland?
Full-wise, someone?
Like work-wise.
Work-wise. I don't know, because when I came to Poland, I promised myself I'm not going to drop the prices, and I didn't. And I still have Polish clients that pay me as much as English clients pay me.
Okay, that's okay.
I've made a very clear to everyone around that I'm not being egotistic about it, but I do work the way I do. And if you like my content and if you like my videos, there is a 90% of chance you're going to like the video I make for you. So don't really call me if you have completely different storytelling if you want to do. You have to kind of call me when you want a video from Magic. I am open to changes and work on the video together and stuff like that. But that has to be 80-20. 80 mine, 20 yours. Believe me, you've got your business to run. You need the greatness. You can't be a movie director if you're focusing on your business. I'm here to do that video for you, and you're paying that much money exactly because I'm giving 110. So after when I spend time with you, fuck me, I have to recover for a few days. That's why I need that money. That's why I need a certain amount of money. I don't want to make it automatic that I'm gonna have less money, but I'm gonna have a lot of clients. I'm gonna be completely burned out, sending edits to a go on Fiverr app to send edits to India, and then get them really quickly done, and then try to sell it to them that I've done it. I don't want to do that. Like completely. Like I want to be this raw, like a fine wine. You don't want to go if you want to buy D'Anjou, you can go to Lidl, and it's fine. It tastes really nice. If you want to drink it every day for the summer, but to a filet mignon, you want to buy that one specific red wine, and I kind of want to be that. I don't want to be exquisite, but I want to be affordable good, like affordable luxury.
Don't you have sometimes the feeling that you're missing out? Like
all the time.
Yeah?
All the time.
How do you deal with that feeling?
I look at myself and I'm talking to myself quite often. So I would say, don't be a greedy, narcissistic motherfucker.
It's a good reminder.
You are healthy. You've done all this stuff. You've been given all this stuff. You have everything that you wanted from life. Absolutely everything I've wanted, I've got. Even from loved ones and family and everything else. I also, in the meantime, got a huge lessons. People left me, dropped me, like I'm absolutely nothing. But because of that, now I'm in the place I am, and I've got this stuff. And weirdly, every time when I was experiencing really bad life, that turned up to be a good lesson to appreciate life even more. So every time when I'm missing out, I just remember, I know it's cheesy to say, but I just remember the simplicity of life is to have what you have right now. And I can be a wolf. If someone's taking stuff away from me, and I'm absolutely nobody, oh, fuck me, I can grind. And then I'm bit more needy. And then I can take all my wolf back and start creating the team to actually take what's mine again. But for many years in England, I fought for that. So now I don't have to. For now, maybe I'll have to do it again. But for now, I'm actually enjoying life. And in the meantime, I've got this, the tough life is always. But compared to what I had to do when I was absolutely from the bottom, now there's obstacles that we can talk about in Warsaw. It's a nice obstacle to have. Honestly, it's just a beautiful obstacle to have. Someone dropped you. Nice. What positive is gonna come from that?
You've recently became a father.
Yeah.
And can you tell me more about the creative side of you? How that got sparkled, if I may say that? Did it impact you hugely on your work, or not?
Why, you want to be a father?
No, I tell you why. Because
you want me to sell it to you? Having babies is great.
Machi was saying the same. No, so because I am a little bit too sensitive.
Yeah.
And when I don't have my, let's say, routine on point, I cannot create creatively.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm just giving you because I was in France. My sister gave birth to a little beautiful baby, Emile, and that day I was planning to write because I like, okay, I need to write this text, whatever, because I write every day. I challenge myself to write every day. And the baby was crying all the time, And I'm like, I get my laptop. I'm like, all right, here we go. Put in the headphones, and I'm like, and it just couldn't come.
Yeah, it's taking your space even with the headphones on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And because you feel like, oh man, should I help? Should I do something?
Yeah.
This is part one, the baby. The second part, which is I'm interested in, because I know, I read between the lines and I see your relationship with your partner. And, there's a lot of, I would say, how can I say this? There's a lot of interesting things happening behind the scenes. Yeah. And I remember for example, when I was in a relationship, in a super serious one, it's like if I wake up in the wrong side of bed, as they say, it's like my whole day creatively is fucking gone.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember she had a big problem with Instagram. Me on Instagram, and I guess you're the same. So sometimes I'm just there, man. I'm not even on Instagram. I'm like fucking making some transfer or like some work. And then she would shout, oh, you're on Instagram again talking to bitches? And I'm like,
making assumptions again, bitch.
And then it just fucks my whole day.
Yeah, I know.
And I cannot create. Do you have this problem, or I'm just weird?
No, you don't. You're not weird. Every girlfriend I had, long time, and again, people in Poland were trying to make me as some sort of fuckboy womanizer. But weirdly, all my life, I was in long-term relationships. But hey, they didn't fucking see it. There was always this problem. Always. Not the previous one before I was doing videography, but as soon as I was in videography, there's always this problem. And it doesn't matter whether that was someone pure, meaning not on Instagram, or someone who was sophisticated, like I used to be with with a girlfriend, that English girlfriend that was quite known in England. All those people that I was with, confident or not, they always had the problem in a certain way. And then that's another conversation. I don't think we've got time for that. But what I can say is I respect my own space like you do. And I had the same questions in my head. I was like, on another side, I don't want to be a lonely fucker. Every time when I spend enough greatness and beautiful time by myself, everything's clean how I want it. Everything's beautiful how I want it. Few days, few weeks, doing this Warsaw, out in the town, back here, beautiful space, my space. I'm flying tomorrow to Lisbon. Amazing, coming back here. It's already cleaned because I had my cleaner. Absolutely stunning life. Even with everything that I had, I would still have very often moments of like, how shallow and empty that is. And I made a conscious decision, like, that's where you are right now. You have to make that conscious decision. You have to make a conscious decision that if you're a pedantic, I'm not a pedantic, but I am. But if you're a pedantic, you have to let the life be if you decide to have a baby. Meaning that, okay, I spoke, like, I didn't have to speak to Laura, but Laura knew what I'm doing. So the moment I'm losing my creativity, like you said, you have to put the headphones on. It's not going to work when Laura's there or the baby's there. When I'm talking a lot to a camera, I have to have my own space when I'm chatting shit, because I'm creating that shit in my head. And I want to elaborate how I want to take it. I don't want to just say the words. I want to know that I'm politically correct. I want to learn about what's happening in society today, how I can say it, how I can impact people without being too controversial, but enough controversial so it's me. And if someone's there doing something and listening to it, even if I'm not a professional actor, I can't, even with me when I'm doing everything, talking so well to a camera, when someone is there, I can't really have that space in my head. But you can go outside your apartment
well,
and make adjustments and for that, one thing I wanted to acknowledge in my head, I was just like, what if that narcissistic side of me and all the success that I'm getting over the years, what if this at some point will stop for me? Whatever you believe in God or not, whatever that's, if that's destiny for you, not to be the top of the top, then you're going to have to pick up something else in life. What's going to happen then? Am I just going to be a lonely old fucker? Yeah. Or am I going to be giving my DNA to another generation who can step up and do a step further? And for that, I was just like, I'm a guy full of love. People tell me that I'm not. Constantly trying to tell me I'm a fuckboy when I'm not. I have more love than people expect. And I know that 100%. And I do want to give another generation a heads up. I'm slightly better than my father. In my family, runs in slow steps. So Zoya, my daughter, it might be triple times better, or maybe tad better. But I want that DNA to go further.
Progress.
So for that, I was just like, okay, I'm going to invite that mess in my life. Let's see what happens. I've achieved that controlled life that I have, my cleaner, my sweet spot, my car, my this, everyone wants me around. I can get that. Even if that's gonna be gone, I know that I can create another life somewhere else because I've already proven it to myself. But this is all gonna be just recreating the same stuff. I want to try something new. And for me, new was give a love because I can. And that quality I have is something that I don't have to prove to anyone. But given that DNA that I have to another person that I want.
Beautifully summarized.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this most important question, probably. It's like, what advice can you give people, for creative people, to be where you are today?
I've got a question for you. What advice did you give to people for...
To what?
To do exactly what you asked me. At any podcast so far that you've done, or before other than podcasts, any time space in social media, have you ever given advice what to do to be in your space, to your place, in your place?
In some capacity, I think so.
What do you mean in some capacity? Because I know you've helped a lot of men how to operate with women.
Exactly.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I'm talking about
career-wise.
Once in a few years, there's always going to be this person that you're going to look at that person's eyes, and you know that this person actually is asking genuine question. It's not the question like everyone else asks, how to quickly get women. It's a genuine, I admire everything that you do. I don't want to be a copycat of you, but I do want to be very close to where you are, like I wanted to be a Casey Neistat. I don't want to be a copy of Casey Neistat, but I admired this guy's mindset and everything that he was representing himself. Then that's a huge responsibility on you to open your mouth. And what did you say then? What did you say then?
The first thing that comes to my mind is have balls. Because there is, for me, like in my career, I would say there's two parts. Like the parts where I was flying high and it was very easy because I was loving so much what I was doing. The money I was making, it was too much. And I regret that I spent it in stupid shit, trips and fucking clothes, It's another podcast.
Yeah.
But, and having gone through like a really difficult time, looking at my brand, struggling and all this, bankruptcy and debts and all this, the only thing that comes to my mind, is KAMAL, the young KAMAL. And the young KAMAL, what he decide in 2008? He said, fuck I didn't say fuck Morocco, but I said, I am done with this place. I gotta go somewhere, but not anywhere. I gotta go somewhere unique, but still not too crazy. I don't want to go to India, and because I'm from Morocco, we suffer enough. So Poland at that time seemed the perfect choice.
Yeah,
it's like the bridge between two worlds. And when I'm doing my spiritual, routines, I close my eyes and I see young KAMAL, like the balls he says, like, you know what, let's just go. I didn't know what's coming for me. And I came, and this blogger thing, it was here because I felt this freedom. I was like, wow, I can create things and make money, sell books, do this, do coaching and all. And had they stay in Morocco, it would never happen. First of all, it's not the culture. Like, I could, even go to jail because this is called, I don't know.
So even though you were so young, you acknowledged a location.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it's like, I talk about it a lot in this podcast, and I call it, I jump to another timeline, another universe by coming to Poland.
Yeah.
And this is where I found my truth, which is, so I tell people, just have balls, see what you can do.
That's why I've asked you, because I knew you're gonna do half of my job, so I'm gonna have to do the rest.
You tricked me, man. You tricked me.
You come across enough intelligent that you're gonna say what I wanted to say. I'm just gonna add it to it.
Yes, please. So finish it off.
Yeah, I feel like same thing. I remember myself as a young pure magic, meaning that what I wanted from life was very pure. I actually wanted to do good in life for other people, and in the meantime, I wanted to make money. That's it. I'm not narcissistic. I want to make money, but I want to make pure goodness for other people, so other people can also believe that, not being lied, that the world doesn't revolve around money. Yeah. But to top that up, this young pure person that you were and I was, I would also say that you do have to go with the time. So there's a stages in your life, and you're constantly creating yourself. And as hippie as it sounds, it's not hippie. You can't just be this pure magic that you were many years ago, because you're just going to be stuck in naive magic or naive KAMAL. And that is not the best for the next stage that you do. So anything that you do, you always have to develop and go to another thing, on to the next one, like you're doing the podcast now.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And I think that's the time also when we're getting old. The moment you get old, because you're stuck in your past. So if majority of those TikTokers in, let's say, in 30, 50 years, they're still going to be doing that, hoping for the best. And you're going to be trying new things, maybe failing, but trying new things, and still having a stable income just to survive, you're still doing much better.
I love that. Well, Maciek, thank you so much. That was a wonderful conversation.
Thanks for having me.
I look forward to having you again.
Again?
Of course.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Warsaw Confidential podcast. If you've enjoyed our journey together and wish to support us further, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review. Your feedback not only motivates us, but also helps in growing our community. As a token of our appreciation, we've partnered with Meknes, a brand where Moroccan craftsmanship meets modern luxury. Exclusively for Warsaw Confidential listeners, Meknes is offering a 15% discount on their exquisite collection of leather goods. To claim your piece of luxury, visit meknes.com and use the code Warsaw15 at checkout. Thank you once again for supporting both the Warsaw Confidential podcast and Meknes.